Hello everyone, and welcome to the AI Research Roundup. I'm your host Alex, and today we're diving into some fascinating work at the intersection of robotics and AI. We'll be looking at a paper titled Taccel, Scaling Up Vision-Based Tactile Robotics via High-Performance GPU Simulation. So, tactile sensing, touch, is really crucial for robots to interact with the world like humans do. Vision-based tactile sensors, or VBTSs, are a pretty cool approach. They use cameras to see how a soft gel pad deforms when it touches something. But simulating these sensors accurately and efficiently has been a major bottleneck for research. This paper introduces Taccel, a new simulation platform designed to tackle exactly this problem. It's built for high performance on GPUs, aiming to be both accurate and, incredibly fast, apparently achieving an 18-fold speedup over real time across thousands of environments running in parallel. This could really help scale up research in tactile robotics. Okay, so let's look at an example of what Taccel can do. Figure 1 here shows a simulation of a dexterous robotic hand. It looks like an Allegro hand, grasping a mahjong tile. You can see the tile itself, and then there's a close-up on the thumb's tactile sensor. What you're seeing there is the simulated deformation of the sensor pad, shown as a depth map. The brighter yellow areas indicate where the pad is pressed in more deeply, capturing the shape of the tile's surface features. It really gives you a sense of the detailed tactile feedback Taccel can simulate. So building on that detailed simulation capability, Figure 2 really puts Taccel to the test, comparing it head-to-head with other simulators across some pretty challenging tasks. You can see scenarios like assembling a bolt and nut, or pressing a soft block. While other simulators like PyBullet or Sapien struggle with collisions, or Diff Tactile shows the objects penetrating each other. Taccel handles these complex contacts correctly and without penetration. It also shows much better physical accuracy than, say, Isaac Sim for articulated objects, and the parallelization is really impressive, over 4,000 environments versus maybe 64 for Sapien IPC. Okay, so we've seen Taccel handles the complex physics well compared to others, but how realistic are the actual tactile signals it generates? That's what Figure 3 looks at. Here they compare the simulated tactile images directly against images from a real gel site type sensor. You can see the setup they used for controlled tests, and then visually, the pairs of real versus simulated images below look remarkably similar across different shapes. Quantitatively, using SSIM scores, they found a really high average similarity, around 0.93, which suggests the simulated sensor data is quite faithful to reality. Okay, so building on that realistic signal generation we just saw, Figure 5 shows how they actually put this synthetic data to work in a real task. Specifically object classification. You can see the set of 10 different mechanical parts they used for the experiments, things like bolts, nuts, and other hardware. And again, like in Figure 3, they show the comparison between simulated and real tactile signals during grasping, reinforcing the fidelity. But the new part here is the pipeline itself, showing how these tactile signals, whether synthetic from Taccel or from the real world, are fed into a ResNet 18 network to actually classify which object is being held. So we've seen how Taccel can generate realistic tactile signals and be used in tasks like object classification, but a key promise was its speed and scalability. Figure 4 really digs into that performance aspect. This plot shows the frames per second, or FPS, achieved by Taccel compared to another simulator, Sapien IPC, as the number of parallel simulation environments increases. You can see different tasks tested, like peg insertion and dexterous hand grasping. The main takeaway here is how well Taccel scales. Its performance keeps climbing even up to over 4,000 parallel environments, while Sapien IPC seems to hit limits much earlier, sometimes failing to converge. Taccel stays well above real-time performance in many cases. Okay, so leveraging that speed and scalability we just saw, Figure 6 shows how Taccel can be used to generate large datasets of grasps. Here you see lots of examples from what they call the multi-dex TAC dataset. What's really new here is the variety. They're showing grasps with 4 different types of robot hands, not just the ones we saw earlier. And for these diverse grasps, they're simulating and visualizing both the 2D tactile signals, like those colorful pressure maps, and also the 3D deformation of the sensor pad itself. It really showcases the breadth of data Taccel can create for training and analysis. Building on that capability to generate diverse grasp data, Figure 7 shows Taccel being applied to a more complex, dynamic task, manipulating articulated objects like drawers and cabinets. This uses a framework called TACman, which relies on tactile feedback. Specifically, you can see the marker flow visualized here to guide the robot's actions and recover from errors. What's really interesting is the direct comparison. Taccel's simulation of these tasks closely matches the real-world performance, especially in the number of execution recovery switches, whereas Isaac's sim shows quite different behavior. This really underscores Taccel's accuracy for dynamic interactions. So, Taccel's ability to accurately model these complex, dynamic interactions, as we just saw, really brings us full circle. It highlights the key contribution here, a high-speed, scalable, and realistic tactile simulator. This kind of tool is crucial for generating the vast amounts of data needed to train robots, and it significantly lowers the barrier for research in tactile perception and manipulation. It's a big step towards more dexterous and capable robots. Well, that wraps up our look at Taccel. Thanks for joining me on this AI Research Roundup. I'm your host, Alex.